Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a fabulous Monday. Welcome back to our weekly Minks Monday Q&A. Before we get started, let me share the bag that I'm currently rocking, and that is the Fendi Mama Baguette. Alright, so let's get this show on the road, shall we? Starting with the first question from Stacy Ann. I recently bought a discontinued Louis Vuitton Estrella through a trusted seller. If I brought this bag into a Louis Vuitton boutique and wanted them to replace the Vachetta, would they? I don't have any documentation that it was bought from a boutique, but figured they could verify if it's authentic. The bag is beautiful but worn. I figured I could give it a try, but wanted to know your thoughts. Fabulous, fabulous question. And when it comes to pre-loved repairs or repairs in general, it really is a case-by-case scenario. And I always encourage you guys to ask your sales associates beforehand. From what I was told, if Louis Vuitton has the materials to do the repair, they will. Whether the item is 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old, or 20 years old, they will repair the item. But again, it is a case-by-case scenario, so I always suggest to ask your associates, just to be on the safe side. Now, back in the day, it was a little bit easier to take your pre-loved items into the boutique to get a little bit more answers when it came to authenticity. You can bring in your item and ask for a repair. You can ask them for advice on this, that, or the other. The associate would look at it and they would look at it and either tell you they can fix it and things like that, or they would respond with something along the lines of, this is not a Louis Vuitton item. That was their way of telling you that the item is not authentic. However, the main reason why I wanted to highlight this question is because it's been a long time since I have personally taken any of my pre-loved goods in for repair. A lot of the items that I have taken in for repair, they are on my account. So I wouldn't be able to give you guys firsthand knowledge as to how it's been lately, especially because Louis Vuitton has definitely gotten a lot stricter. They've implemented a lot more rules when it comes to repairs and whatnot. So I don't want to give you guys false information. And I turn to you for those of you that have brought in your pre-loved items into Louis Vuitton. Did you need documentation? Did you need to show proof? Did it have to be on your account in order for you to get the repair? Because again, I haven't, it's been a long time since I have done that, and I don't want to give you guys any false information whatsoever. And unfortunately, I know that this is also going to come up. Unfortunately, Louis Vuitton is very inconsistent when it comes to, different boutiques or different managers or different stores. So we might get a lot of different answers, but I still wanted to see, get a feel for, what's going out there. And if you do need that documentation. I know in the past I had one or two of you that ended up messaging me on Instagram. You had told me that you do need proof of purchase and your name has to match what's on the account. And I'm curious if it's gotten if it's still the same or if it's gotten a little bit more intense or what have you. So again, if you guys have any information when it comes to repairs and pre-loved items, let us know in the comment section down below. But major congratulations on your Estrella. That is a beautiful, beautiful bag. I love the silhouette, and hopefully we're able to get some answers for you, and that way you can either move forward with getting it repaired or if you decide to keep it the way that it is. But again, I turn to you guys and let us know what your experience has been. Next question from Pretty Bits and Bobs. I have just bought my first pair of Chanel Espadrilles. The sales associate told me that the model I was buying was limited edition and very hard to get. I bought the black mesh ones and I absolutely love them. I didn't know that these shoes were so hard to get. Can you give me some insights on availability on the Chanel Espadrilles and also on resale value for limited edition ones? Would love to hear your thoughts on this. All right, so first and foremost, major congratulations on your first pair of Espadrilles. The black mesh ones are absolutely gorgeous. Now, when it comes to Chanel Espadrilles, in my experience and from what I have seen, anytime you have a new season, anytime you have a new collection, since they end up introducing so many different colors and those colors often have so many different details, a lot of the shoes do become very limited and they're very hard to find. And as the season continues, they become a lot more scarce either at boutiques or at department stores. For example, I bought these silver laminated goatskin ones, I think it was a year ago if I'm not mistaken, and shortly after I got these, you couldn't find them in a boutique or in a department store either, so they became very limited. I do think that they're beautiful, but I will get to this in just a second. Now, when it comes to luxury shoes in general, for me personally, I don't think that any of them end up holding their resale value because I feel like there's too many different factors. You have condition, you have sizes, you have colors as well. So there's too many factors. It's definitely not like a handbag. So anytime I go to buy luxury shoes, I already know in the back of my mind that they're not going to end up holding their resale value. When I go to buy them, I buy them, and I don't think about selling them down the line. If I sell them, then I look at that as kind of like a bonus. I know that some people won't end up seeing it that way, and that's totally fine, but that's just kind of how I end up viewing it when it comes to luxury shoes. Now, I wanted to share some numbers with you, and I'm not trying to scare you by any means whatsoever. I'm just trying to share information, and it's not always going to be like this, especially if you end up submitting them as well. But I just wanted to share these numbers with you because after I saw this question, I ended up doing a little bit more research again to share even more numbers with you. Okay, so for those of you that follow me on Instagram, many of you know that I am in the process of selling some of my luxury shoes. Two of those being Espadrilles. One of those pairs of Espadrilles are these guys. These are from the 2017 Cruise collection. And when these first came out, they were very, very hard to come by. And I was very happy that I was able to add them to my Espadrille collection. I think that they're beautiful. They are all fabric, black and white. You have silver threads throughout. I have used them quite a bit, although I feel that they're still in pretty good condition, right? Not too bad. The back isn't completely flattened out or anything like that. Not too bad whatsoever. So I actually ended submitting these to three different places that end up buying luxury goods. Two of those places, I got their quote back a couple days ago, and they offered me $75 for these shoes. Remember, they were extremely hard to find. They were very limited. 75 bucks. Now I paid $675 for these shoes. Am I expecting to get $675 for these shoes? Absolutely not. And just like I'd mentioned, I do see selling them as kind of a bonus, but $75 to me is a slap in the face, considering the way that they look, because I still think that they have a lot of life left in them. You know what I mean? So 75 bucks. The third one came in at $150. Now, because of that, I thought that I would submit the lambskin ones. Now, the black lambskin and the tan lambskin with the black lambskin cap toe, those are the classics when it comes to espadrilles. Those, for the most part, are a little bit easier to find in all of your boutiques. Sometimes the sizing is very limited, but for the most part, it's a lot easier to find these than some of the other, seasonal pieces. So I ended submitting these shoes. Now these shoes are a lot more worn. I've had them for a lot longer, and the back is a little bit wrinkled, definitely a lot more than the previous ones, but remember, these are all leather, those are all fabric. Even the inside looks kind of beat up, and the bottom. So I submitted them just like this. Offered me $185 for these guys. So again, it really just goes to show that the classics do end up selling for a lot more than their limited edition ones, regardless, it seems like, of the type. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say regardless, because it definitely is a case-by-case scenario, so forgive me for that. It just seems that their classics do end up selling a lot better in the condition that this was in. So I wanted to push it a little bit further, and I ended up asking them about these guys. Remember, they were limited edition, and I'm still on the fence about whether or not I want to sell them. And I do believe I paid $725 for these, if I'm not mistaken. Don't hold me to that. Those places came back with $150, and the other one came in at $175. Again, I'm not trying to get what I paid for them, but it's really eye-opening to see, what they end up offering you versus what you paid. Then again, these are consignment shops, and they do have to make money. It's kind of the best way that I can think of these are kind of like pawn shops, because pawn shops still need to make money off of that item. They're not going to offer you what they're going to be selling it at. You know what I mean? So that, I feel like that's always important to keep in the back of your mind as well. But it was a little bit crazy. I did end up calling two of these shops, and I asked them about the prices. I said, am I seeing things? Am I crazy? Is this really what you quoted me? And one of them came back and said that this is the price that we're offering you because we have so many of that shoe in stock. So I wonder if oftentimes they end up giving you a little bit of a lower number. I'm not saying all the time, but they offer you a lower number because they're hopeful that maybe you won't send them in, and that way they don't have an overstock of the shoe. That could be the case. I have no idea. But it was very interesting to see. Again, I wasn't expecting to get anywhere near, you know, what they end up selling for. But I was just like, 75 bucks? Dude, for 75 bucks, I'll wear these things down to the ground type of thing. But anyways, I'm not trying to scare any of you. I just wanted to share my experience. I wanted to share the numbers that I got. And please know that this isn't going to be the case for everybody. This is just what I came across. So when it comes to your beautiful mesh espadrilles, enjoy them to the fullest. You know, if you love them, then rock them like it's nobody's business. And if you do decide to sell them later on down the line, just know that you might not end up getting anywhere near what you ended up paying for them. So I don't know if this ends up helping you guys out. I know that this was a little bit of a longer answer, but I just wanted to be as detailed as I possibly could be. Next question from Kimberly K. What are your thoughts on Prada? Do you own any bags from the fashion house? I've seen Prada bags all over IG recently. Some are cute, but not sure any are here to stay. Okay, so when it comes to Prada, well, I don't have any other pieces within my collection now, except for a pair of shoes. I have in the past, and I really didn't have the best experience with them. It didn't leave me with the warm and fuzzies to want to add anything new into my collection, be it handbags or small leather goods, because in my experience, I felt that the items ended up wearing very quickly in a short amount of time. And not to mention the items that I did end up selling that didn't have wear, they didn't have the best resale value either compared to what I ended up paying for them. So that was also a big bummer. But in general, when it comes to Prada, just as you had mentioned, I do feel that they do have a lot of cute, a lot of fun, a lot of great in the moment handbags. Of course, they also have their signature handbags. They have their classic nylon line. Personally, that line is not for me. But when I think of Prada, I think that the majority of their silhouettes are very fun. They're great at the moment handbags. They're not necessarily handbags that I would consider to be classics or staples. These are just my 2 cents. At the same time, if you want fun pieces, I think that this is a great fashion house for it. They don't have boring pieces. They add a lot of details to them. And sometimes I feel that personally those details are a little too busy. I can still appreciate what this fashion house brings. Case in point, a couple weeks back, I saw this large woven tote that I thought was absolutely beautiful. It's available in 2 different sizes, and the large size, I believe, retails for $22.50 if I'm not mistaken. It's all leather. It's available in a couple different colors, and I thought that this bag would be perfect for spring and summer. Perfect to, you know, to go out during the day, to go out shopping, to go down to the beach and things like that. Is this a bag that I would necessarily use in a different aspect of my life? Definitely not, but still I can appreciate how fun it is. And again, it's a great in the moment handbag. And I'm not trying to rain on Prada's parade either by any means whatsoever. And even though I didn't have the best experience with them in the past, I can still appreciate the fact that they do have so many different details. The fact that a lot of their handbags do have a lot of personality. You know, they don't just have the same type of silhouette over and over again. They have a lot to choose from for, you know, for anybody. So I think that's wonderful. You know, but just for me and my own collection, this is not a fashion house that I am necessarily intrigued by. It's not a fashion house that sparks my interest, but I can appreciate from afar. And once again, I see that they have a lot of great pieces that are wonderful for in the moment, not necessarily classics that I think would end up standing the test of time. But again, these are just my 2 cents. So I would love to hear your thoughts on the comment section down below when it comes to Prada, because even though I didn't have the best experience, it doesn't mean that that's going to be the case for everybody. I've heard some people say that they've had their Prada pieces for a long time, no issues whatsoever, which I think is fantastic. Unfortunately, I didn't end up having that experience, but let us know in the comment section down below. For those of you that do have Prada pieces, how do you like them? What kind are they? You know, how long have you had them? Whatever you want to let us know about this fashion house, tell us in the comment section down below. But great question, and hopefully I was able to answer it. Next question from Mary Angela Balbas. Hopefully I said that correctly. Do you use your luxury bags when traveling to other countries where pickpocketing is prevalent? I'm getting back into contemporary brands lately because of the price increases, and a lot of the new styles, Louis Vuitton, aren't appealing to me lately. Also, purse snatching has been occurring more frequently where I live, so I want to be more discreet about my purses. I think Michael Kors makes great dupes for people that want to try out certain to try out a certain style of luxury handbag before actually spending the money on it. Some handbags don't work out for everyone, and we can't just base our purchases off of reviews we watch/read online. I agree 100%. You know, because you said it perfectly. Just because a handbag works out for one person doesn't mean that it's going to work out for the other. If you have two people that need a crossbody bag, they might need that crossbody bag for two different reasons, you know? So I think reviews in general are it's a really great way to get the pros and cons from that person. And then that way you can make the decision if, you know, does this work out for me? Am I looking for the same thing in a handbag as that person is as well? So I agree with you 100%. Now, do I use my luxury handbags when traveling to other countries? Yes, I do. And I often refer to them as my destination pieces. I know that we've talked about this in the past, but with those destination handbags, I do like them to be a little bit smaller. I want them to be inconspicuous. I don't want them to have logos everywhere. And they're also handbags that I want to use crossbody that are very easy for me to put underneath my coat or underneath my jacket, just so I don't end up attracting any type of attention. You know what I mean? It makes me feel a lot more comfortable. So usually I end up using my Chanel wallet on chain. I end up turning, the logo is very small. I end up turning it around, again, just so there are no markings. And I've also used the Chanel minis in the past, and I always like to have them, again, underneath my coat, underneath my jacket, just because it gives me a little bit more peace of mind. I'm able to carry my essentials with me, because anytime that we do end up traveling, let's say that we're out, you know, that we're out traveling for 10 days. 2 out of those 10 days might be spent inside of boutiques or inside of shops. But other than that, we like to experience the culture of the country that we're visiting. We like to go into mom and pop shops. We do a ton of walking around. We very rarely take any type of taxis or anything like that, you know, so we do a lot of sightseeing as well, but we go to museums and all that stuff. So the last thing that I want to do is I don't want to have to worry about my handbag. I don't want to have to worry about, you know, where I'm going to be. I want to be able to enjoy the moment, enjoy the experience that we're having instead of having to worry about my handbag by any means whatsoever. I know that that's not the case for everybody, you know, to each their own, but whenever we travel, I don't want to attract any type of attention. I don't want this giant logo that says, hey, this is a Louis Vuitton bag, this is a Chanel bag, this is this type of bag. Not at all. I just want to be inconspicuous. You know, I want us to be in our jam, just enjoying where we are, you know, where we are in the moment. But when it comes to traveling with luxury handbags, another reason why I do like to go for the Chanel wallet on chain or for the Chanel mini is that they do end up transitioning very nicely into evening. So that way, if we're out and about sightseeing during the day, I can use it crossbody. And if we go to a really nice dinner that evening, I could just end up hiding the strap and use it as a clutch, you know? So I really like to go for handbags that have a lot more, that are very versatile and that I can incorporate into different aspects of our trip, instead of necessarily wanting to carry around 4 or 5 different bags. Again, I know some people do that, to each their own, but just for myself, I want a little bit more peace of mind. I want to feel comfortable. I don't want to have to worry. I don't want to have to think twice about what's going on with my handbag. I'm more so rather worry about the awesome food that I'm going to be experiencing because I'm in this country or that country or what have you. So I don't know. That's just the way that I see it, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts when it comes to traveling with your luxury goods. Is it something that you do? Do you end up going for something that's a little bit more inconspicuous? Let us know in the comment section down below. But fabulous question, and hopefully I was able to answer it. Next question from Alexa B. What are your thoughts on Burberry, and do you own any of their bags? Just haven't heard you mention that house. Thanks. No, I do not have any Tory Burch handbags, although I will have to say that some of them are very beautiful. Some of them have a lot of their heritage. They have some beautiful details and some beautiful designs. So I can definitely appreciate that. They also have other lines that I'm personally not too fond of, such as their TB line. Now their TB line, I know that some have a little bit more organization than others, and they do have that beautiful leather, but that leather, the way that they incorporated the TB that's kind of stitched onto it or detailed onto the leather, I just feel like it makes it very, very busy. Not to mention, maybe it's just me, but I feel like it looks so similar to Tory Burch. Tory Burch has a line that looks very similar to Burberry or vice versa, or however you want to say it, but I can't unsee that, you know what I mean? So once I see the TB line, I automatically think of Tory Burch because of the details, and not to mention, I see the T and the B, and again, I cannot help but think of Tory Burch. But like I said previously, they do have some other designs that are very simple. They have a lot of heritage. One of the ones that I think is very beautiful, very understated, and also has an awesome price point. It's a buckle detail crossbody bag. It's available in a few different colors, and I just really like the simplicity that it has. I think it's a very unique design as well. Now, unfortunately, from what I have seen when it comes to Burberry, a lot of their pieces don't end up holding their resale value, like nowhere near what the item ends up retailing for, which is a major, major bummer because again, they do have a lot of beautiful leather, they have a lot of beautiful designs and a lot of great silhouettes. They just don't end up holding their resale value as well. You know, but while I can appreciate this fashion house from afar, it is not for me. But I do like some of the designs that they end up incorporating into their handbags. But I would love to know, for those of you that have Burberry, how do you like the fashion house? How do you like the pieces that you have? How are they wearing? Let us know in the comment section down below. But fabulous question, and hopefully I was able to answer it. And the last question from Susan Lawler. I was wondering what your thoughts were on how to respond when asked what items cost. I treat myself now and then to gorgeous shoes or bags, and I do show people because I am excited. I know, such a child, but I find it so awkward when people ask me the cost. I feel embarrassed to tell them sometimes. I am not wealthy, but I work hard and save hard to buy these luxuries. It is making me feel like I can't tell anyone if I buy something nice. I would never ask someone this, so it always stumps me. Do you ever have this issue? Great question, and I know that we've talked about this in the past. Have I had this issue before? Yes, I have. And I do feel about it a couple of different ways. For the most part, I feel like you can always get a sense of why that person is asking you, whether they're asking you because they genuinely want to know, or if they're asking you because they want to try to make you feel bad. I have had both of those things happen. I've had someone ask me how much something was. I told them and they made this huge production about it. You know, they had to shout it to the rooftops and how they could never do this and never do that. And here comes the judgment type of thing. I've had that happen. And I've also had people that ask me how much something is because they genuinely want to know. And after I tell them, they're like, oh, great. I had no idea. I couldn't find it, blah, 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 whatever the case may be. You know, so I definitely get it when someone wants to know how much it is and they genuinely want to know how much it is, especially if it's a fellow handbag addict. And if I can help out a fellow handbag addict at any point in time, I definitely will, you know. And the one thing that always stumps me, kind of like you, is that we do live in a day and age where it's so easy to just Google something. It's very easy. I mean, we have the information at our fingertips. So I personally wouldn't end up asking someone how much something was. If anything, I would ask them the name of the item, you know, or what's the name of it, what's the color, and that way I can do my own research, and that way I don't make them feel awkward. It doesn't make for an uncomfortable conversation or anything like that. You know what I mean? So I will always say, oh, what was the name of it? What was the color, or, you know, the material, and then I will go do my homework and try to find it myself. But I don't ever want to put someone in that position either of making them feel uncomfortable. So I completely understand where you're coming from. I know in the past when we talked about this, a lot of you guys had mentioned that you end up saying it's a gift, and saying it's a gift I think is one of the best ways to go about it, especially if you feel uncomfortable, especially if you feel awkward about the conversation. If you say a gift, I mean, what are you gonna say? You can't say anything else. I feel like that kind of stops that conversation right there, and you can move on with whatever else you guys are talking about. At the same time, I completely understand if someone's like, no, I don't want to say it was a gift. I don't want to say it was a gift, you know, because just like you, I am not wealthy by any means whatsoever. I don't have money coming out of my veins. I work hard for my money, and I work even harder to save up for the items that I really like. And it's not that I'm trying to show off. It's not that I'm trying to tell someone that I think that I'm better than them by any means whatsoever. It's just that I'm so excited. So I completely understand where you're coming from. And I think that most, if not all handbag addicts will get that, you know, that you're excited. Oh, I got this item and it's this and it's that. And it's not that you're showing off. It's just that excitement. You can't contain it, and you want to be able to share that same feeling with someone else, you know? So I completely understand. But if you don't want to have that awkward situation, if you don't want to have that awkward conversation, saying it was a gift, I think is a great way to go. Or you can just tell them the name, and that way they can end up, Googling it, or they can find out for themselves. I mean, like I said previously, we live in a day and age where information is literally at our fingertips, and it takes 2 seconds with a name to find out the item that you're looking for and how much it is and things like that. So I don't know, but I would love to hear your thoughts on this once more. Let us know how you guys feel about it. Do you feel awkward? Do you feel uncomfortable when someone asks you how much the item is, or do you tell them the price? You know, whatever the case may be, let us know what you have experienced before. But fabulous, fabulous question. You keep doing you. You keep enjoying your items, and you continue to have that excitement just shine on through. You know what I mean? And don't ever feel embarrassed because you were able to acquire something that you really liked through your hard work or anything like that. But fabulous, fabulous question, and hopefully I was able to answer it. All right, you guys, so that does it for Minks Monday Q&A. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope I was able to help. You guys had some awesome questions this week. Now, I kind of touched base on this on Instagram. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I talked about it on my stories that I am going to continue to upload because I think it makes for a wonderful escape. I think it makes for a fabulous distraction from all of the darkness that's going on around us, you know, and it's very scary out there, but I just feel like we have to stay strong. We have to stay positive, you know, be safe, be healthy. I love you guys to the moon and back, and I will see you in my next one. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not. The choice is yours. Have a great day.